Trump, tariffs, trade deals. We're going to talk about how all of this and other factors are affecting our local real estate market. You guys, stay tuned. All right, so lately I have been getting a lot of people asking me what's going on with the local real estate market here in North Texas. Right now, we are seeing a number of different things affect the market, and we're gonna start off with number one is interest rates. Recently, the Federal Reserve has made the decision to keep interest rates fairly flat. Of course, we see volatility on a day-to-day basis. Maybe they're a little bit up, they're a little bit down, but they're right now hovering anywhere around 7%, maybe a little bit under, maybe a little bit over. I'm not a mortgage lender, so I can't quote you a rate, but that's roughly what we're seeing right now. And of course, the higher your interest rate, the higher your payment's gonna be. And right now, buyers are really looking at their monthly affordability. I know a lot of you guys are saying, well, Cory, back in my day, I had a 7% rate, or I had a 12% rate, or a 15%, whatever it may be. We get it, you guys had a high interest rate whenever you paid for a 3,000 square foot house that was $40,000 and it was in top-notch condition. But in today's market, we're seeing starter homes that are, somewhere in the $300,000, $350,000 range. And for somebody who's buying their first home and they're putting 3.5% down, they've got a 7% rate, they're really focused on affordability. So that's one of the major factors right now that's affecting our real estate market here in North Texas. Another thing that we're seeing right now in the real estate market is our tax assessments. And of course, Texas legislation have given us a little bit of a tax break to where we have that homestead exemption. There's other exemptions that could really help reduce your tax liability. But this is another factor that goes into monthly affordability for buyers. And it's something that they're really putting an emphasis on. Now, the last thing that we've seen have a huge impact on affordability lately is insurance premiums. And this is something that historically has not been an issue for buyers. It's one of those things where you get a house under contract, you go through the entire purchase process, and then on the day of closing, you're like, oh yeah, we gotta get insurance for the house. And that's not gonna affect your payment that much. However, in today's market, with some of the recent hailstorms, hurricanes, tornadoes, just some of the weather we've seen all across Texas, all across the country, we're seeing a lot of carriers change their premiums. They're going up drastically. They're changing their policies, higher deductibles, and all of this has a drastic impact on affordability. So if you take just any one of those factors, high interest rates, higher property tax assessments, because values are increasing here in North Texas, or you take the higher insurance premiums, if you take just one of those, that can really affect buyer affordability. When you take all three and put them together in a buyer's payment, which is what we're seeing in today's market, that has a huge impact. So what that means for sellers right now is that buyers are very particular about what properties they're looking at, how much money they're gonna have to put into the property after closing, meaning, is the property move-in ready? Is there a lot of remodel? Is there deferred maintenance? There's a lot of things that they're looking at trying to determine what their budget's gonna be after closing aside from their mortgage payment. And that's gonna affect if they wanna go look at your property, that's gonna affect if they wanna make an offer on your property, and it's really gonna affect what kind of concessions they're gonna ask for, and ultimately what kind of offer they're gonna make. So here in the market that I specialize in, Sherman, Texas, is where I live, where I office out of. We do have some great things going on. Lots of people, lots of demand moving to this area. And that's mostly due to corporations like Texas Instruments, Global Wafers, and all kinds of ancillary businesses that are moving here to this area for their manufacturing efforts. And this brings all kinds of white collar jobs, all kinds of blue collar jobs, and it does drive demand in the housing market. So we're seeing that is holding values strong here in North Texas, which is a great thing for sellers. However, you still have to be very conscientious about where you price your home, what kind of condition it's in, and realize that buyers, just because there is the demand, aren't just going to be like, yeah, we'll take it as is, and we're gonna pay top dollar for it. Another thing that we're seeing here in North Texas, especially in Sherman, Denison, is that we're seeing a lot of new construction communities, new developments come into this area, and it's something unlike we've seen in the past several decades. We've had our local builders that do new communities here and there. They'll do some smaller build projects. And with that, that increases the supply of housing, which is also feeding the demand of these new people that are relocating to our area. Now with that, it puts more pressure on current homeowners who are trying to sell. And that pressure comes in the form of builders offering crazy incentives to buyers. And that comes in the form of interest rate buy downs, which makes their monthly payment more affordable. It comes in the form of, it's a new construction home and there's not any problems with it, and you get a warranty on it. That's huge right now. Now, when you look at an older home, of course, they have more character sometimes. They've got a little bit larger lot in some cases, but they can also have some higher expenses that go along with just standard maintenance because it is an older home, it's not new, and it doesn't have some of those newer mechanical components that makes these new construction homes a little bit more efficient. So all of this factors in to a buyer's psychology and what they're looking for. We've talked about selling in this market. Now let's transition and talk about buying a home in this market. As I just mentioned, builders are offering crazy good incentives right now in the form of rate buy downs. Sometimes they're doing some free upgrades that get you a little bit more bang for your buck whenever you're going to build a home. And it's a great option to look at new construction. Also, if you're looking at a pre-owned home, sellers are realizing that the market isn't the same that it's been in the past. Now maybe you can negotiate some of those maintenance items to get repaired that in years past, a seller might have just laughed at you and told you to kick rocks. Those are some major factors that affect our local market. Now I want to talk more about what's going on at the national and global level. We talked about some trade deals, we talked about tariffs and our current presidential administration, and the truth be told, we just don't fully understand or know how all of that is going to affect our local real estate market. We're not sure how that's going to affect values. Of course, with the Federal Reserve, who knows where interest rates will be and when they're actually going to start lowering those, if they even do. So all that to say, if you're looking to buy right now or if you're looking to sell right now, I highly recommend you talk to a local professional in your market. If you're here in the North Texas area, you've got to come talk to us. We'd love to guide you through the process of selling, pricing your home, or buying and making sure you're getting a great deal. So I just wanted to update you guys on everything we're seeing in the market right now. I hope you guys are doing well, and we'll talk to you soon.